Okay, the wait is over. Sean Diddy Combs has been indicted Monday in Manhattan in federal court, and they arrested him. So, New York Times just dropped it like 15 minutes ago, and USA Today just dropped that he was taken into custody. So, this all just happened probably in the last few hours, or the last 5 or 6 hours, and the press conference or press release just came out. So I was one of those ones that was thinking maybe he wasn't going to get indicted because time was passing. Just having wild sex and taking D-rugs isn't enough. It's not really a crime. It might make you a hedonist or a bad person, and beating up your girlfriend in the hallway is domestic violence. I don't think that's a federal indictment, but apparently they've been calling all those witnesses all these months at the grand jury. So the raids of his house were back in May. So what's that? So May to June, July to August, September, 4 months. So there's been about 3.5, 4 months of witnesses being brought into Manhattan. I'm always a little unclear with it, like, if it's sex trafficking, I mean, like, taking your girlfriend across state lines and then you do D-rugs and you have sex parties. I don't see how that's human trafficking, but I'm sure there's probably going to be some surprising allegations to come out of this. I think that, let's go back to we don't know if it's a RICO. So the charges, that's interesting. The specific charges are not released as of yet. So what, is he indicted for specific acts? Is it a RICO? I mean, RICO is racketeer influence corrupt organization, so that you are using your power to have other people do lots of things, each of which in and of themselves might not be that big of a deal. Some of them might not even be criminal, but you have an ongoing criminal operation and you're controlling an organization with your corrupt influence. His organization would be his giant company and, interlocking companies, the liquor companies, clothing, music, other things he may have, of course. Now, the fact that they took him into custody, I mean, if what he was facing had a 5 or 10 year max, they probably wouldn't take him into custody. But here's a guy that in recent months has sold his stake in Revolt. He got out of the liquor. I think he put some of the homes up for sale. He's been, an interpretation would be to say he's been gathering cash. But apparently he waited too long. Now, he could just be getting out of those businesses to move the money around so that he doesn't. So it's harder to get if there's lawsuits, but at the amount of money he has, it'd be difficult to hide it, really. And, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, the way that Harvey Weinstein ended up, pretty damn shocking. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was as big of a deal as Puff Daddy was at his peak, and he was a big deal. And even up until his indictment was a big deal in terms of being successful in the entertainment industry and also a powerful person in the entertainment industry. Guys, like my new Lions gear. I came out in the car to do this on the spur of the moment. But Harvey Weinstein was even bigger. Harvey Weinstein and his brother Bob, who didn't get in any trouble, they had movies that won a bunch of Oscars, top box office of the year. I mean, he was, Miramax Films, which was him and his brother's film company, was, for a time, they were the biggest production, like non-made, other than like the big studios, Warner Brothers and all that. They were a big deal, and he's appears to be on his last leg in prison, though he did get one of his grape convictions tossed out and he's been back in court. But they'll load you up with these charges, and then you can get them off one by one. I mean, I was just working on a story about Gerald Prince Miller, the Supreme Team. He started off with 7 lives. He's got it down to 1 life, but 1 life was all you need to be kept in prison for life. So they took Puffy into custody. They have not released the charges as of yet. I'm sure we'll hear about that overnight, and maybe I'll do a story on that. But the news, your social media news feed will be full up with information by then. But trying to be early on the story, someone just texted me, and it looked like it just 12, 15 minutes ago, they released the news. Now, I read that lawsuit from the guy who said, the producer, who said he groped him and he knew about shootings and all that stuff. It seemed a little hard to believe, but maybe the things that crazy people do, like the fact that there's such a thing as PDF files. If you're not a PDF file and you didn't, someone would have to tell you that, no, there's people that are PDF files. You wouldn't necessarily think like, oh, I'm not into that, but I can see that existing. So it's always hard to, the things that very extreme criminals might do always seem unbelievable. Now, it'll be interesting to find out what always interested me the most, or seemed the most damning, though the least salacious accusation against Puffy, was the blowing up of Kid Cudi's car. So Cassie supposedly was dating Kid Cudi, and Puffy threatened him, and then his car blew up, and Kid Cudi said, yeah, that happened. Now, blowing up somebody's car to intimidate them. Now, and also, mind you, there's all this boyfriend-girlfriend stuff, but this is business stuff, too. If Sean Combs is creating an air of danger about himself, then that helps him obtain better contracts with people. This is exactly what a mafia charge could be. He could very well be facing something like a mob boss would get. It might not be about sex, or it may be to a degree, but because think about if you're a mafioso running a record label, you're blowing up people's cars, you're getting people beat up, flashing guns on people. These are all things he's accused of. Like he learned from Suge Knight and incorporated that into what he was already doing, and became Suge Knight and Puffy put together. Now, if that's the case, that's definitely RICO violations, and he could be in some big trouble. I bet you Russell Simmons is very glad he's chilling over in Bali right now. I bet you he don't come back. Boy, oh boy, and Puffy was so much at the center of, or seemingly, he made himself seem like he was at the center of hip-hop social life, hip-hop industry social life. Are other people at risk? I mean, I don't like to rumor monger or whatever, but like, boy, what I'll tell you this much. I mean, I'm no celebrity, but I'm 1%. I'm not a celebrity like anything like that, but even being someone slightly on rung 1 of the celebrity ladder, I can see how, like, when you have money, and more so than the money, you're popular. So the kind of people that are in the entertainment industry, girls that want to be famous and guys that want to be famous, I can see how if you're a manipulative, sick person that gets your kicks out of, degrading people, making people do things they didn't think they would do in the quest for fame and fortune, more so fame, maybe all these weird Illuminati well, I hate to use that term, but these, secret rites at the parties. I mean, I think if you're someone talented and hardworking, you don't have to do anything weird to be in the entertainment industry. But there's so many, LA is so full of people that come from other cities for no reason, like other than a lot of guys ask him for their number at the mall, or, you know, they fuck a lot of other guys' girlfriends, so, oh, I'm handsome. So they go to LA. Well, that don't mean you're going to be in a movie or that you're going to be a rapper or whatever. Like, it really doesn't have anything to do with the other. Obviously going to be interesting to see what the charges are. I mean, personally, if you believe all the allegations, I could see him being painted like a mafia boss and intimidating people into contracts that aren't as good as they should be through, and then there's the Kim Porter angle. Again, I don't like, the rumor stuff gets pretty crazy, but like, she died of pneumonia at 45, not long after saying she was going to write a book about Puffy. Boy, and almost everybody around that guy ended up bad. Black Rob, G Depp, Biggie, Mark Curry hates him. Even his own bodyguards, who probably have been embellishing things because they're getting interviewed and making money. I don't know, but if they liked the guy, they wouldn't be talking about him. So he must be someone that makes people not like him, even people that were tight with him that he was paying. So that says a lot about him. Let's see what else. And then of course, just the other day, my home state of Michigan, that Michigan male inmate got that $100 million judgment against him. And I do know that sometimes with frivolous lawsuits, the defendant won't respond, and there's a default judgment, but that doesn't mean any money's ever going to get sent out. But the details of so if you didn't know, there's a guy, he's a Michigan state inmate who's serving like 17 years for kidnapping and grape right now. Like, he's knee deep in his own kidnapping and grape case, serving time in Michigan State Prison. He got a $100 million default against Puffy for back in '97, which would have been around the time Puffy was coming to Detroit a lot, because Detroit, maybe not now, but up through the probably 2008, but definitely in the late 90s, Detroit was probably, well, it would have been Detroit and Chicago would have been the number 2 and 3 black music markets in the country. I mean, Detroit in 1997, if you're promoting black music, would have been more important than LA or Houston or anywhere, or Atlanta. So he was here a lot. I used to go to, I would be not Puffy parties, but at like clubs where he was there and buying out the bar. He was in Detroit a lot. So the thing with the guy in Michigan who said Puffy groped him and he woke up off of being asleep from a substance, and Puffy said, "I had you." All these guys' stories do sound the same. And remember, that's a fetish in and of itself, that incapacitating someone. That's what Bill Cosby admitted to doing. Darren Sharper, the football player, incapacitating someone and having sex against their will. That's grape. No doubt about it. That's grape. So, wow. So he's in custody. They don't want him bailing out. Well, I guess we'll hear the charges at his bail hearing. So Puff Daddy's been indicted. Al Profit, American Dope.